I'd like to offer my sincerest greetings to all who care to venture into this dwelling of darkness. We will journey to the sea islands of Georgia, where the ancient mystic customs of West Africa have evolved and transformed into a uniquely American practice. Frankly, this is a story of brutality, vengeance, and magic. Our tale is called The Gullah Witch, and there is no better place for it than the Nightfall radio show. They called her Mama Lucy, and she lived in an old cabin outside of town, down by Fox Creek. Nobody really knew how old she was, and certainly no one had the nerve to ask. She could be seen each morning and again in the evening just before dark in a rocking chair, and the occasional passerby would wave at her, at which she would respond with little more than a nod. Rumors about the old lady had circulated for as long as a lot of folks could remember. She'd been born into slavery on the old Silas plantation, that much was sure. Her father had been killed by his owner, Henry Silas, and his brother James, when it was learned that he planned for his family to escape to the north, where he would enlist in the Union Army. She never forgot the horror or the grief. In any event, over the years, she showed a knack for concocting all kinds of teas, potions, powders, and even little amulets that many folk believed could fix anything from a head cold to a run of bad luck. But other folks were afraid of Mama Lucy. Some said she was a root worker. Others straight out called her a witch. And there was hardly ever a time when smoke could not be seen billowing from her chimney. One night in the winter, the coldest night of that year, so they say, a terrible scream was heard in the woods. Not an animal, but something not quite human either. Of course, no one ventured out to see what it was. After all, what horror might be waiting beyond the warmth and safety of your door? What evil might be dwelling in those dark, icy woods? Next morning, a grisly scene was discovered in those woods. There were bodies, or rather, body parts strewn about, most stuck to the ground in frozen puddles of blood. They were ripped, torn, slashed, and even partially eaten. All around the area were strange tracks that no one could readily identify. They might have been coyote or even wolf tracks, except that they were much, much too large. The bodies were later identified as members of the Silas family, specifically 2 nephews and 3 grandsons of Henry and James Silas. That same morning, Mama Lucy sat out on her front porch, rocking slowly in the cold, late January air. She looked down at her left hand and saw the red, faded remnants of a pentagram. And for the first time in a long time, a smile of quiet satisfaction appeared on her face.